Okay, you guys, so I hope you can see. I'm hoping that when we get started, people can see my screen and my slides, because it's like kind of helpful for you guys. Double check, make sure. Okay, so I got confirmation. You guys can see my slides. So I am really excited today to talk about the law of momentum, because, you know, we've talked a lot this month about momentum and getting things going in your business. And I think, you know, sometimes we're not exactly sure, like we hear the word momentum, but we're not exactly sure what momentum is. So I am so excited to talk to you about that today. So first off, what is the law of momentum? The law of momentum is an object in motion will stay in motion until it meets a resisting force. So keep pushing forward. So today, because, you know, we know the fact that an object in motion will stay in motion meets a resisting force. And in life, resisting forces happen, right? Roadblocks pop in our way. Things happen that we can't control is ourselves. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, you know, moving forward with momentum in your business. So how do you build momentum? Momentum takes time. So it takes consistency. It takes showing up every single day in your business. Remember the story of the tortoise and the hare? You know, the tortoise is like ready to go. He's ready to run. And he's like, I'm going to win. I'm going to do this. And he takes off. The gun goes off and he just is gone, right? Kind of like the Roadrunner, just fast, gone. And the tortoise just slowly starts to put one foot in front of the other. What happens to the tortoise? He burns out. He gets tired because he didn't pace himself. Yes, it's great to be excited, and you need to, you know, have that movement to go forward. But if you set too fast of a pace right out of the gates, you're gonna burn yourself out. And so it's all about creating those small steps every single day, consistency of showing up instead of, you know, messaging 30 people a day for a week and then the next week not messaging anybody. Breaking that up into increments of messaging 5 people a day, you know? And so it makes it so you're building up this speed to get going. Consistency or momentum, how else you can build momentum is you need to develop a routine. We talk a lot about fitting it into the cracks of your day. And Brittany Hunting talked about last week about how you have to be intentional with fitting it into your cracks of your day. You can't just say, wake up one day and say, you know, whenever, you know, if I have a break, I'm going to do it. You have to be intentional about those cracks of your day. You need to know what you're going to be doing. You need to develop a routine. You also have to know why. Why are you trying to build momentum? What are you trying to reach? Why is this so important to you? Because if you don't have a why, and you know, you get sick of hearing that, like everyone's like, what's your why? What's your why? It's important, you guys. You have to know where your bus is going, what direction it's going, and why it's going there. I am someone that doesn't like, my husband likes to do this, but I am someone who doesn't like to just go for a drive. I am someone who likes to go for a drive if there is a destination that we are going to. Yes, I would love to take my time to get there, and I love to road trip with him, but I'm not someone that's just going to jump in a car and say, wherever the wind takes me. That's not me, and maybe that's you. But to build a business, you have to know why and where you are going with this, why you're getting up every single day, why you're getting these, you know, objections, you're facing this rejection and failure every single day. Why? Why are you being vulnerable and letting people do that to you? It also takes, momentum takes preparation. Again, it goes back to, you can't just let wherever the wind takes you, and you can't be someone, on the flip side of it, you can't be someone who just, you know, plans all the time but doesn't put it into action. You know, there's that balance. You need to prepare. You need to know what you're doing. You need to understand, you know, prep. Take Sundays to, kind of map out your week ahead. Maybe map out a few of your posts that you're going to do. If you're in our fitness, our Practice What You Preach group, every day, every week is pretty consistent to what I ask you guys to post. Transformation Tuesday, Throwback Thursday, Business Opportunity Sundays. Do they have to be the same post? Absolutely not. They should not be the same post. But you are prepping yourself every week to know, every Tuesday, I know I'm going to do some sort of transformation. And that helps you build momentum, because that gets people into a routine and they kind of know when you're doing something. Building momentum, when I started my business, I'm not as good now at it because I've built that following, but I recommend if you're just starting your business and you're trying to get people to follow you, post every single day at the same times. When I started, for an entire year, I posted every single day at 8, noon, and 6 p.m. every single day of the week, because that got my followers into a routine. They knew when to check in with me. They knew when to check my post, because Makala usually posts at noon. It's just kind of like your favorite blogs, right? When your favorite bloggers put up a post. When your favorite YouTubers put up a movie or an episode. And I can remember a time when I didn't post on a Sunday. I usually only did one post on Sunday. It was my little, inspirational quote or a selfie of my family or whatever it was. And I missed a day. And I had people messaging me, asking me, where are you? Are you okay? Is everything okay? Because I had primed my followers to know who I was. Consistency builds momentum. And another one is motivation. You have to be motivated to gain momentum. You've got to be willing to grind. You've got to be able to put in that work, because momentum takes a lot of effort in the beginning. So we're going to talk about that. How do you get your mo going? How do you get your momentum going? So getting started. Do you remember the story of the little engine that could? How he starts up the mountain, right? And it is just hard for him to get that momentum. And so he keeps telling himself, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And what happens? He starts, it takes a lot of steam for him to get going, but then it kind of gets his rhythm, right? And I think I can is how he gets his rhythm. And all of a sudden, it starts to kind of gain momentum and take off for him. It's kind of like when you're pushing a merry-go-round at school, when you were little and you would start and it would take all your effort and strength to push that merry-go-round. But as you kept going, it started to take off on its own, right? And it got a rhythm. It takes a lot of steam to get going. And coaches need to start getting their rhythm and slowly build their steam over time. So it's going to take a little more effort for you in the beginning. Now, it gets easy. It doesn't get easier, but it's kind of like, the workout, it doesn't get easier, you just get better. That's kind of how momentum is too. It doesn't necessarily get easier, but you start to become this well-oiled machine because you've started that momentum and you've got this rhythm going, and when your posts are going down, and when your free groups are going, and when you're going to do your paid challenge groups, and it just starts to rock and roll, because consistency is better than rare moments of greatness. And I love that quote. Day at a time. You focus on your goal and you just keep pushing forward and moving that. Sometimes getting your momentum is physical, but sometimes it's mental. Sometimes we have to get out of that mental rut of, the negative mindsets. And that's where personal development comes into play. How do you get your mo going? I don't know about you guys, but when I finish listening to personal development, I'm like, yeah, I can conquer the world. I am a rock star. I think I am incredible, because I am, and so are you. But it gives you that juice, confidence boost to just be like, I got this. I can do this. So to get your mo going, the first thing you need to be doing every single day is taking care of you, filling your cup so you can fill other people's cups. So you have the energy to keep your momentum, to get that momentum going. And honestly, getting your momentum going is starting something. It's just starting. How many times do you say you want to do something? How many times do we have challengers that the hardest part for them is just pushing to start on the first day? right? I've talked to girls before that are like, I'm going to do it Monday. I'm going to start Monday. Monday comes, I message them. I'm like, how was your first day? Oh, I didn't do it. I just got crazy and things just didn't happen. How many times do you have a plan that you want to do something in your business? I want you to take a piece of paper out if you have it, and I want you to write down something that has been going through your mind the last month, that you keep thinking about, that keeps popping in your brain, and you keep thinking, man, I should do that. I'm challenging you today that you need to do that this week. Whatever it is, do it. Stop saying, oh, I really should have done that. I really should do that. Because you know what's going to happen? Someone else is going to beat you to it. And then you're going to go, man, why didn't I do that? That was my idea. It has happened before. Don't think, it's kind of like the Wright brothers when they flew their plane. There was another guy who could have been the first person to fly. If you've ever read Failing Forward, it's one of my favorite books. It's by John C. Maxwell. And he talks about that. The guy gave up. And so now the Wright brothers are known for flying, right? It's the same thing. The book is another good book is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And she talks about how when thoughts come to you, you need to write them down and listen to them. It's inspiration for you. But if you don't act on it, somebody else is going to take that thought and run with it. So get your mo going by doing those things that you're like, gosh, I really should do that. Make time for it. Do it. Stop going, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe someday, and not do it. Do it. Get your momentum going. You have to. The hardest part is getting it going. We know that. So if you're looking at your business and you're like, gosh, I've been doing this for a couple months now and it's still not letting up. No, it takes time. It's going to take effort, consistent effort to get going. Okay, so how do you keep the flow? Once you've got your momentum going, how do you keep the flow? So one way to keep momentum going is to have constantly greater goals. And I think this stops a lot of people because, you may have a goal. Okay, maybe you said, okay, this month I'm going to hit Success Club 5. So you hit Success Club 5. And the next month, you don't set a greater goal. Keep the flow going by continuously saying, okay, I did 5 last month. I'm going to do 8 this month. I'm going to do 10 this month. That's one way to keep it going is you have to constantly have greater goals. The thing that stops people a lot is they reach their goals and then they don't set new ones. We are always growing. We are always evolving. You've got to keep moving forward. You've got to keep the merry-go-round spinning. Another analogy that I have is when you're driving your car. You're sitting in your car and you're getting ready to go out of town and you're on the highway. You leave town and it's at 45 miles an hour and then it jumps up to 65. You have to push on that gas pedal, right? You got to kind of not floor it. I do. That's terrible, but I don't really know. I'm not the best driver. You floor it, right? To get that speed up as fast as you can. And then once you hit that 65, well, usually I go 5 over, 70, you hit 70 miles an hour, what do? You hit the cruise control, right? So one of my things about this is when you're first starting, you're pushing that gas pedal. You've got, your foot all the way to the floor. And you are pushing as hard as you can. And then you reach that momentum and you can hit cruise. Now, does that mean you go on autopilot? No. Does that mean your car isn't still working? No. Your car is still continuously going. And where is it going? Towards another goal, your end destination. So when you hit cruise, the only thing for me with this analogy is when you hit cruise, it just means, like I said, you're a well-oiled machine. You know what you're supposed to be doing, and you're doing that day in and day out to get you to that end result. There may be times when you have to slow down to go through another town because, maybe I don't recommend slowing down or stopping when it comes to your business. But maybe there's something that happens in your life and you do have to slow down for a minute. But what happens if you slow down? You have to put your foot back down, all the way down on the pedal to gain that speed again, to gain that momentum so you can hit cruise again. So there's going to be times when you're going to have to go a little faster, right? Maybe you're going up a hill and you're going to have to, you reach a mountain and you're like, okay, my cruise, it's bogged down. We're going to have to just push a little bit harder to get up this hill. But keep going. So what happens when, how to go in time of woe? Just like when I talked, you're driving along, you're cruising, you're at 70 miles an hour, and you hit this, steep hill you're going to have to climb in your car. What do? You stop? Do you try to find a new direction because you're like, yeah, my little car's not going to make it up this hill, so I've either got to stop and turn around and go home, or I'm going to have to find a shortcut, not a shortcut necessarily, but just a different way because, gosh, my car's just not going to make that up that mountain. Or are you going to put your foot down and say, I think I can, I know I can, and work your way up the mountain? Will you be going up it 70 miles an hour? Probably not. But will you be going up the mountain? Yes. Yes, you will. One of the biggest things that's going to stop you is your fear. I love this quote. It says, fear is a bully who doesn't fight fair. We have all of these other outside things that, can stop you, stop the momentum. Maybe an unsupportive spouse, maybe something, medical happens in your family. There can be lots of outside scenarios. I can tell you personally, for me, my life was crumbling down around me for a year or so. And the one constant in my life was this business. And it's the thing that kept me going. Because it was the one thing in my life, the 4 vital behaviors were never changing. They were staying the same. And so a lot of people, when outside sources come around to them, they stop their business because that seems to be the easy thing. But I can tell you right here, right now, your business is probably going to keep you going. It is the thing that got me out of bed every single day. It's the thing that gets me out of bed today. It is the thing that is a constant in my life when everything else seems to be just, crumbling down. So when you face moments of woe, when you're trying to get going, don't stop. If you know in your heart of hearts, this is what you're meant to do, this business is for you, this is what you're supposed to be doing, don't quit. But a lot of times, the thing that gets in the way is ourselves. And I've seen it in our team. I've seen it in people around me. They stop, they get in their own way. It's like they dive in front of the car and are like, making you to make a choice, hit me or stop. So fear is a bully who doesn't fight fair. It growls at us in the dark. It whispers to us in the daylight. It tries to tell us that we are too much or not enough. But here's the deal. Fear does not stand its ground when you turn and face it. It runs away, scared that you have seen its true colors. So face your fears head on. Stop letting it control who you are and what you do. Fear is a bully, you guys. I don't know about you, but I'm an irrational person sometimes. Call me crazy, it's fine. I'm irrational. There have been times when I was home and Struan was working late, my husband. He was working late and I'd call him, and maybe I'm the only one that does this. I don't think I'm the only one that does this, but I would call him and he wouldn't answer his phone. 5 minutes later, I'd call him. He wouldn't answer his phone. I hadn't heard from him in like 30 minutes. My mind immediately goes to the worst case scenario, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, he got chopped up by some equipment. Oh my gosh, some guy came in and, shot him. He's in a ditch somewhere. Like, all of these irrational fears start going off in my brain, right? I don't think I'm the only one that does this. That's because fear takes over. And fear is going to tell you the dumbest things. Sorry, you're not dumb, but your fears are. Fear is dumb. And I can tell you this, one of the things I have learned is if I start to feel all of these fears bubble up inside of me, I say them out loud to myself. They sound really silly. Like, I feel silly telling you that. I'm like, oh my gosh, my husband's probably laying in a ditch somewhere. Oh my gosh, he got shot. Like you sound silly just even saying it out loud. It's because fear is so irrational. It takes little tiny, it turns like little things into the biggest of things, right? Like a little mouse turns into this great big lion that scares you to death. So you have to learn how to get out of your own way. You've got to stop letting fear control what you do. Stop worrying about if someone's going to tell you no. And sometimes I think we think that when people tell us no, that stops our momentum. No, that should fuel your momentum even more. That's pushing you towards the next yes. It's making you move forward. So you've got to stop getting in your own way. You've got to stop with all of these fears, these irrational fears that, you know, you're not good enough, or people are annoyed with you, or you're too salesy, or, you know, you're just not confident enough. You're not outgoing. Personal development is going to fix that. And, you know, just recognizing those moments when you are, you know, when you're just being, you know, in your own way. So it's never the size of the problem that is the problem. I love this. This is by John C. Maxwell. He is one of my all-time favorite authors. I mentioned him earlier. He says this: a train traveling 55 miles an hour on a railroad track can crash through a 5-foot thick steel reinforced concrete wall without stopping. The same train, starting from a stationary position, won't be able to go through an inch-thick block in front of the driving wheel. It is never the size of your problem that is the problem. It's the lack of momentum. Without momentum, even a tiny obstacle can prevent you from moving forward. With momentum, you'll navigate through problems and barely even notice them. So it is never the size of the problem that is the problem. And when you can recognize that and you can see that you are gaining momentum, again, it's your choice. You can keep pushing that merry-go-round and letting it take off. I mean, have you ever tried to stop a merry-go-round once it's spinning full force? It about rips your arm off, right? I remember when recess would end and you're like trying to grab the merry-go-round to let all your friends off. It like rips your arm off almost because it's taking off. That's what you're doing. When you let problems and you let little things that, you know, really don't matter, take control of that. And then it slows down and you have to restart it over. Lack of momentum. You have to be willing to put in the work to get that momentum going. And then you have to be able to consistently be able to stay moving forward. And when forces try to stop your merry-go-round, they have a hard time doing that because you have built so much momentum that those things really don't matter. No outside force can stop you because you already have that momentum going. So remember, momentum demands movement. We talk a lot about dreaming big, and we talk a lot about, you know, setting goals, and we talk a lot about all of these like planning type things. But you're not going to gain momentum if you don't move, if you don't do something, if you don't try. You're not going to your business isn't going to take off. I can tell you, if you put in the effort consistently for a year, and I know you're looking at me like, oh my gosh, a year, that sounds like a long time. It's really not. If you can put in the time every single day consistently for a year, there's no way your business isn't going to be farther ahead than it is today. You will see a shift in your business. You will see a shift in your mindset because you have been that person who has moved your business forward and you haven't let anything stop you. You haven't gotten your own way, and you've made sure that you are doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. So I am so honored that I had the opportunity to talk to you guys about the law of momentum. Again, I want you to write down something that has been popping up in your mind for over the last little while that keeps nagging at you, but you keep kind of pushing away, and I want you to put it into action. Create your momentum. Be intentional about it. All right, you guys, I am so grateful for you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and have a good day.